Hello, my friends. We are out on the porch because today is a nice day, and by nice day, I mean it's still 100 degrees, but at least it's not raining. I'm currently sitting on the porch, and I'm getting ate up by these little freaking piss ants. I've already committed to this location, so we're just gonna have to deal with it. Where are they biting me, you might ask? They're biting my ass, okay? So today we are going to be talking about The Winter King by Bernard Cornwell. This is book 1 in the Warlord Chronicles. I have been seeing this book floating around BookTube for the past couple of months. I've seen multiple people mention it as a great Arthurian legend retelling, King Arthur retelling. For some people, Arthurian legend might, tickle your pickle, but for me, the whole King Arthur situation, that is just not my jam. It didn't spark any joy for me, but I felt like I would give it a try, right? But what does tickle my pickle, and if I knew this before going in, I probably would have gone into it way sooner, is that The Winter King, for me, was as if the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb and The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne had a love child. This being that love child, okay? If I would have known that going in, I would have 100% picked this up because I love the Farseer trilogy and I absolutely loved The Faithful and the Fallen. That's two of my favorite series that I read last year. Though The Winter King definitely came out before The Faithful and the Fallen, I'm not sure about the Farseer trilogy, and it's clear that John Gwynne did take some, inspiration from this. But I like the term love child. I like the term love child, so we're going to keep it in there. I think it works. So in this story, we're following an old monk named Derval who has been tasked with chronicling his experience of the infamous Arthur, right? The warlord, King Arthur, if you will. And the chronicle of his story and his experiences with Arthur is the bulk of the narrative, though we do get quite a few little interludes of Derval of the present day kind of piping in to comment on or have little quips about some of his decisions and some of the things that he said during the time of his youth. To set the stage, we have Dark Age Britain that is being invaded on multiple different fronts. We have the Saxons coming, we have the Franks coming, we have the Irish coming, as well as this rise in Christianity in Britain, which obviously adds a little bit of tension between those who worship the carpenter and those who worship the old pagan gods. And instead of presenting a united front against all of these invaders, of course, the British kings and their individual kingdoms can't help but continue to squabble amongst each other to try and gain more power or regain power that has been lost, or to right past wrongs, or to get revenge for past wrongs. So the reader is placed in the kingdom of Dumnonia with Derval, who is a son of a Saxon slave who was captured by the Britons and is now one of Merlin's foundlings. The king of Dumnonia has just died, and who is the heir but an infant named Mordred. So we have a really unstable beginning. We have to protect the baby king, solve political problems, make peace with the Christians, and unite the kingdoms of Britain against the invading Saxons, Franks, and Irish. That's the plot, folks. That's what we're doing. So enter Arthur, who is the bastard son of the late king of Dumnonia, and Merlin, of course, who is a druid of the old gods. These two men are the key players for me. The way they're both discussed amongst so many different characters before these guys even enter the chat, so to say, it gave me chills on multiple different occasions because there's so much reverence and so much fear and awe and respect that is exuded just within uttering the name Arthur or Merlin. And I feel like even with my paltry knowledge of the, Arthurian legend, aka, the cute little Disney movie, I feel like I still had this idealized version of both Merlin and Arthur in my head, and Cornwell does a fantastic job of kind of flipping these expectations on their head. As we meet Arthur and as we begin to interact with him, we see that he is a deeply flawed character. He doesn't always make the right decisions, he's deeply idealistic even about his enemies, and he's incredibly emotional. And while these traits may be considered flaws, I also think that these are the things that make him one of the most compelling characters in this novel, because he's not perfect, but he tries to be honorable in what he does. Merlin is the other character that I was the most intrigued by. He doesn't really show up until quite a ways through the book, but the second that he was on the page, I was immediately hooked. Merlin has his own ideas about how these threats should be handled. He has his own machinations and ambitions as a druid, and he also has the skills as a druid to achieve these ambitions, or at least attempt them. Merlin is definitely a shifty sort of character, and I'm not quite sure at this point in the story whether or not we're supposed to root for him or whether we're supposed to dislike Merlin. I don't know. I'm flip-flopping constantly on Merlin. But that's what makes Merlin so captivating. Does he really hold the magic of the gods, or is it all just parlor tricks and manipulation? What is he doing, and why is he doing it? Is he truly trying to help Britain, or is he just a man who loves and feeds off of chaos? I want to know the answers to those questions, okay? Derville as our narrator is probably one of the best choices to go for as a narrator because he is very vanilla. He's kind of an everyman in the fact that he could quite literally be replaced with any man that can hold a spear and is slightly horny most of the time. The things that make Derville unique are the characters that surround him and also his relationship with those characters. Derville is just a dude who can hold a spear, but damn is the guy a magnet for interesting people. He is a great little window into the shinier parts and pieces of the story. He's just a regular dude with his boots on the ground, and as a fantasy reader, I find that pretty refreshing because a lot of the times we're following these ultra macho guys who are the heroes, or we are following these ultra, super strong feminine characters who don't need no man, Derville's just a dude. He's just a dude with his boots on the ground and he is telling us a story. Now, because this is such an unstable setting, it is dark, okay? There's a lot of war going on, and with the war we get the classic war type of shenanigans. Indiscriminate murder and the taking of slaves, both general and sexual. I think that Cornwell does an amazing job at depicting the darkness without making it gratuitous. There are many instances where these horrifying acts don't happen directly on the page. We're aware that they're happening through, sounds or, word of mouth or things like that, but they're not blatantly spelled out for you over and over and over again. You might think that this might make you feel a little bit detached from the emotional impact that these scenes are supposed to have, but I think that Cornwell handled these things in a way that was effective without causing me emotional burnout from the continuous acts of gratuitous violence. And with this comes the chaos of battle. There's only 2 authors that have been able to really depict the chaos of battle in a clear and concise way while still remaining chaotic, and that was John Gwynne and now Bernard Cornwell. Cornwell is able to depict the chaos of battle in a way that effectively shows that everyone is going 14 different ways, everything is happening at once, without the writing feeling chaotic, if that makes sense. Now, this next comparison is a little bit strange, you could probably say, but when I read Dark Age for the first time last year, one of my main complaints was that in these chaotic battle scenes, everything was really muddled and it was really, really lacking in the clarity department. Cornwell doesn't have this problem, okay? The chaos is there, but it has a certain order to it that provides that clarity that I was looking for in Dark Age. And if this trend continues, I think that Cornwell might find his way right up there with John Gwynne in some of my favorite battle sequences and duels. I mean, they're just fantastic. Let me know down below if you've read this book. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you didn't enjoy it. Let me know your thoughts about this book. I absolutely love this one, and it took me completely by surprise. I also did an immersion read for this one, so I listened to the audiobook as well as reading it physically at the same time. Fantastic way to do it. The audiobook narrator is just phenomenal. Did I convince you to read it? If I didn't convince you, let me try one more time. You should read it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to join the NotSoAverageJo army. We are currently readying for battle, burning down churches, kicking some Frankish ass. But I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you next time.